What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my good friend over there, Brian, discuss comics that have been adapted into movies and streaming shows. For Star Wars, it's been first a feature film and then a film series. There's been comics, there's been novels, there's been video games. Star Wars has been adapted into so many different forms, so we can cover it on this channel. And of course, manga has been turned into anime. If you're wondering where the hell I'm going with this big introduction, it's basically we're talking about Star Wars Visions, and we are going to do seasons 1, 2, and 3. While there is a little bit of a lack of comic book related shows to cover, and we are going to do season 1 today, next week season 2, and then followed by season 3, which just came out on Disney Plus. Brian, I just talked a lot, but you did not watch this until just now, right?
No, well, I had watched when it first came. Did this come out in 2019 or 2021? Or what was the first year?
Came out in 2021.
2021. Okay, so I watched the first episode of this first season, and that's as far as I got. So
Okay.
that was the duel with the kind of black and white cell shaded 3D animation.
Yeah.
And I liked it, and I don't remember why I didn't continue.
It's funny that you said
years ago, so I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like you said 2020, you said 2019 or 2021. It's funny that you say that because I think you were kind of going on either end of COVID. And it's always easy to remember that Disney Plus kind of came out of COVID, right? Like that's when Disney Plus dropped, was during COVID. And I think that when this first came out, we were so starved for things to watch because we were homeward, we were in our houses, homebound. That I think that anything would have been appealing. I think nowadays, since obviously we can just live life as normal, things like this kind of aren't as, like, they get overlooked. And so the amount of effort and energy and talent put into this is probably staggering. But it's also the kind of thing where probably a lot of Star Wars fans don't even know about this.
Yeah, I find that I really only use Disney Plus when there's a major show coming out,
Right.
and I don't pay attention otherwise. Like I haven't like rewatched any of the Marvel movies or any of the Star Wars movies recently or anything like that. I really like the last thing I don't remember the last thing I watched though. What was the last thing we covered on Disney Plus?
Was it Andor? Andor season 2?
Andor. Yeah, maybe it was Andor. So maybe I haven't used Disney Plus in the past 6 months.
Oh my God.
Crazy,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you brought up Andor. Good little segue there. Because I go on Mike Bongiorno's show, Pop Culture Man Children, a lot, and he comes on this channel sometimes too, and the Lastercast. And Mike Bongiorno has always been a champion for this particular Star Wars show, Star Wars Visions. He sent me a text which inspired this recording, which was like, if you need a little bit of joy in your life, watch season 3 of Star Wars Visions. And I think the reason why this show is so important to him is because it's like taking the concepts from Star Wars or the feeling of Star Wars, but it's not bound to a specific lore and it can go in any kind of direction. I think he finds that very appealing. We've had discussions of that on his show. Do you find that appealing?
Yeah, I would say it's more so taking the setting of Star Wars and going in any other kind of direction. Like I feel like you do see a lot of other kind of stories from other genres depicted here, and it's just really with a Star Wars twist. Like there was one episode that there was a couple episodes here that I'm like, this is blank but Star Wars,
Right.
Right. And that's not the case for every single one, but probably a good half of them I would say I could pigeonhole as something with Star Wars.
Yes.
So I did enjoy it. Going into this, I was really expecting, and being that I had already watched only that one episode, I was really expecting something more along the lines of like Love, Death, and Robots, or maybe even the Animatrix. But this was like straight up 9 episodes of anime.
That's right.
And I did appreciate that as someone who does still watch anime on occasion.
Yeah. Were there any because they say like who made it, like what studio? Was there any studio that you recognized when you would see the credits?
And I marked those down there. So there were 2 by Studio Trigger and 2 by Science Sorrow. Studio Trigger has done some of my favorite things. So They spun out of after creating an anime called Gurren Lagann, which is one of my top 5 of all time.
Right.
So the guy who created that spun off and made Studio Trigger, and they've done some other things that I love, like Kill la Kill. They did Cyberpunk Edge Runners. What else did they do here? They recently did an anime called Delicious in Dungeon, which is like a fantasy anime where they eat monsters and they like really get into like the recipes of it. And it's sounds so dumb, but it's so good.
No, I believe me, I know how weird anime can be, but like how good it can be too. Like I know that, I mean, my daughter Pepper loves manga in general, and she'll talk about how like there's one of her favorite mangas is about like a toilet bowl or something. You know, it's like Toilet Spirit Kokyo or whatever the fuck it's called. And you know, some of the stuff in this is extremely pleasing to look at. I'd say the majority of it is exciting to look at.
Yes,
you know,
I agree. Yeah.
Going back to your point of, you know, it's this, but Star Wars, I feel like in general, it's all pretty much like samurai stories, but instead of samurai, it's just Jedi and Sith.
Yeah. And the first time I saw a katana-shaped lightsaber, it was cool. But for the 7th or 8th time, I'm like, oh, that again.
Right. And then I feel like there's also like story beats that are like, oh, okay, it's this again too. So I wanted to talk about that for a second. You know, it's amazing how many times in our recordings I have to say the word Ouroboros, right? The snake eating its own tail. Because Star Wars, you know, I know that George Lucas was inspired by what is it, Akira Kurosawa, who did like Kurosawa, Jesus Christ, Kurosawa, who did what, The Seven Samurai, right? And so like there's obviously this sort of like samurai Ronin background to Star Wars, you know, combined with like westerns and then Flash Gordon serials that like come together to make what Star Wars is. But I feel like when they pitched this project before they went out to the studios, they were like, well, samurai mythology is a big part of Star Wars mythology. And then I think that that's sort of the connective tissue that brings all of these stories together. What do you think?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you could really see that samurai like ideal in the Jedi, really, like, and yeah, that's a big connective piece here. As we see, it's the theme in almost every episode here.
Yeah, because for the most part, I'd say more often than not, you actually have Jedi that look more like samurai, and then they have katana-shaped lightsabers, and the blades are like katana blades versus the lightsaber blade. Then you have like the Jedi in the typical robes and stuff. Would you agree, or?
There are still some robes, and there's still a couple like standard looking lightsabers, but for the most part, yeah, I think you're more so seeing that very Asian influenced katana shape than the standard. Yeah.
All right. So before we jump into it, just in general, did you enjoy watching this?
Yeah, I did. I think I did. Yeah. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be all anime. I was expecting something different. So I was expecting a few that were just not as good. And I guess that's still true. But overall, I think I enjoyed it more than I expected.
Yeah. Well, you'll see which ones I thought were not so good because I have like less details written about them. And then also I, probably talk about them less. But I'm curious to see if the ones that we liked match up and the ones that we disliked matched up.
Yeah, I definitely have a couple that stood out more to me than others.
Yeah. Well, so let's go through them, and I'm just going through the order they have on Wikipedia. You just mentioned the Duel. All of these were dropped in September of 2021. The Duel, you describe visually, like, because you were saying it before we started recording, like that feel of it.
Yes. So this is maybe what turned me off on it, actually. So I vastly prefer traditional 2D cell animation compared to 3D animation. This, although it has a very pleasing aesthetic and it's very well detailed, it kind of lacks the fault I normally find in the animation. Like, say that we would see in like What If or something like that. So it is 3D animation. It's heavily stylized. It's very cell shaded and black and white. So the problems I usually have with things like that is that the world feels empty. There's not enough in the background. If there are background characters, they all look very similar. There's not a lot of differences in them, but that's not the case here. Everything looks very different. there's a lot of different aliens and clothing and looks for everybody, and that's great.
Yeah.
So they did that well, and I really appreciated that. I liked in terms of this here, the storytelling here is that there's a couple little curveballs here. Really these are just little like writing prompts, and then they just flesh it out a little bit for the most part. And I like, in addition to the style of it, I really like that they surprised me a little bit here and there.
Yeah. Well, I love your point. You said that like it's like there's a lot of extra detail like in the background and stuff, because there's essentially like two factions fighting in this episode, and one is like this group of villagers, and they're made up of all different aliens, and so it is almost like the Seven Samurai, because there's like these different warriors that look like they could have been mercenaries. They're all different races. You have like I can't remember like what the fuck species Bosk is. Transdotion. You have like a Transdotion. Then you have like Sebulba's race, which I think they're called Dugs. There's one like that's in. I thought it was a droid at first, but then you see it's like piloted by like a Sebulba type guy.
Yeah, there was a guy that kind of looked like Forlom a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, right. He's got the minigun, right?
The Gatling gun. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's just the people protecting the village. Then the village, it's like they have like I guess like clone trooper armor or stormtrooper armor, and then like the stormtroopers or clone troopers can just like all look alike, right? But they each kind of have like little details for their armor too. So I like that touch as well.
Yeah, I felt like the villainous characters were just like wearing pieces of stormtrooper armor rather than full armor. So maybe they even like stole it from them or claimed it after they killed them or something.
Right. Yeah, and then in this one you have a Sith who's on the ship with the Raiders or whatever, and her design is really cool too. What I like about her is that you just see little pieces of her, and then like it becomes more and more elaborate, right? When you first see her, she's like in their ship, and she's just got the Sith cloak on. Then she comes out, and you see her mask more clearly. And I don't know about you, but like, did her mask remind you of like the mask from Something Is Killing the Children? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally. Now you mention it. Yeah, I didn't think about it at the time, but yes.
Yeah, I felt like her design, like because she has like big eyes, and then she has that black mask with like the teeth on it, which looks just like what is her name? Karen Slaughter, or it's Erica Slaughter is the main character from Something Is Killing Children. And then like as she's fighting, she like takes out this weird fucking like umbrella lightsaber thing that has like multiple blades.
And I love that thing because it was like that was probably one of the most different looking weapons in this entire thing there. It was sort of like an umbrella, but it really was just like refracting a lightsaber blade in a way.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool idea.
I feel the exact same way. Yeah. So much that it's used as a prize at the very end.
Yes.
And then like she's fighting. There's this like big long fight scene because I mean it's called the duel. And at one point, like she takes off the top of her cloak, and then she has this big fro too. So I liked her design. The main guy kind of looked like Mitsurugi from Soul Calibur.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a stereotype.
I mean, it's a very standard kind of Ronin sort of look. So
yeah. So I mean, was there anything that stood out from this? Or like when you watched it a second time, you're like, oh, okay, I actually really like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I always did like the fact that when the Ronin reveals his saber, it's also red. Like I thought that was a surprise twist that I wasn't expecting. Like you're seeing this other lady and her bandits are clearly bad guys, and this was the hero guy who's on the run or for whatever reason, the masterless Jedi or whatever. And no, he's also a Sith. And just the idea that he's hunting other Sith and collecting kyber crystals. I thought it was an interesting detail. Like I said, these all feel like this little writing prompts, and they just give you these little bits of information and detail that I feel like that when they do that more often, it makes me more interested in seeing more of it. And that's kind of what I put a lot into how I rated these is how interested would I be in seeing this continue?
Yeah.
And in addition to how it looked and what I liked about it and everything.
Ooh, I like that criteria. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I actually would watch more of this one because I did like that Ronin character. And you were talking about details. What I really like is he doesn't turn off his lightsaber. He just puts it in its hilt. And the sound design is really great because it's like really loud when he puts it in the hilt. It's like, I just fucking love that.
Yes, I feel like there was a lot of with the lightsabers with sound that look like katanas. A lot of them actually sheathe them rather than just turn them off.
Yeah, yeah. It's so good, and yeah, I like at the end he defeats her. He takes her kyber crystal out of her blade, and then he goes and you see that he actually has like a whole bunch of kyber crystals from I guess other Sith that he's killed, and then he gives it to the boy who's like the leader of the village, the protector of the village.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
yeah, and based on all that, it's just I thought it was a cool character. I thought it was a cool aesthetic, and I absolutely would want to see more. And I'm kind of hoping that maybe they continue a few of these in later seasons, but I'm not sure about that.
We know that one of these 9, they are making into its own standalone thing.
Is it this one?
It's not this one.
Which one is it?
You want me to tell you, or do you want to try to
Yeah,
guess?
I want to know.
Okay. I think you might not actually be that excited, but it's the Ninth Jedi. Do you know which one that is?
Oh no, I love that one.
You love that one?
I love that one. Yeah, we'll get into that when we get to it. Yeah, but yeah, no, that's I will say about that one is that was the one that I most thought like, yes, I want to see more of this. I want to know more about what's going to happen here.
Okay. Well, good. We have a little bit of a differing opinion on this one. Shit,
Okay.
we should have come up with a rating system for all 9 of these that we could use. Like, okay, how about this? Why don't we use your criteria? If it's good, then it's like we'd want to see more of it. If it was okay or not good, then we're like, that was fine. So this one, I'm guessing, is I want to see more of it.
The duel, yes.
Okay. I mean, you literally just said that too, so okay. All right. So here comes the next one, and I'm actually very curious to see how you felt about this one because I feel like you could maybe not want to see more of this one. But it's Tatooine Rhapsody.
Okay. Yep. So to me, this was Scott Pilgrim but Star Wars.
There you go. That's a good one. Yes. All right. So let's talk about it. Do you know who the main voice actor is in this one?
I don't know who the main voice actor is, but I definitely recognize Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett.
Yep. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No way. I noticed a couple voices here and there, but I didn't look up every single one.
Right.
Like wasn't in the duel, wasn't the villain Lucy Liu?
Oh shit! I didn't write down any of the cast members of that. That's very possible.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
but yeah, there definitely are some some like A-list or B-list celebrities sprinkled throughout this.
Right. Yeah, and we'll get to them too. But for this one, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the main character. His name's Jay. Then Bobby Monahan plays like the Hutt that's in his band.
Oh, okay.
His name is G. Yeah, Tamara Morrison is obviously Boba Fett. So I'll just kind of give you my thoughts on this one real quick. I really love this one mainly because of the voice work and the sound design. Because it's what I like about these is that it can be so different from Star Wars, but then it's like wholly Star Wars. Like the art style for this, I'm sure there's there's a specific term for the type of anime this is, where like the characters are kind of like child looking. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Chibi?
Oh, sure. Is it chibi? Would you say it is?
I would definitely say it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have like a chibi Boba Fett, but even though he looks like a child, he's still like scary and he carries himself like Boba Fett. So I actually really like that.
Yeah.
Slave One sounds like Slave One, or nowadays I don't think we can even call it Slave One, but his ship sounds like his ship.
Yes.
The whole sequence where they're like at a pod race for their execution, that just felt like it was straight out of the prequels. I really dug this one, but I'm wondering if you did.
I rated this one a little bit lower.
Okay.
I guess it was one of the. This was the second one I watched.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the order we watched these in is different than you're reviewing here. So it was a stark contrast to the duel. And this is also before I realized how everything was going to be anime. So I maybe was a little harsher on it, but I didn't think I was going to come back to this one or be interested in there. But knowing that, I did find it interesting that there was a Hutt that just didn't want to be part of that, whole crime family lifestyle, and he was on the run there. I really appreciated that we saw Boba Fett and Jabba. I did not realize that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's kind of cool. And I'm a huge fan of music, and I love the fact that it's music in Star Wars, which we don't really see much of outside of like Max Rebo, you know.
Yes.
So that's like a cool thing there. But I had this rated kind of like lower on my list here, so that I wouldn't care if I saw more or not.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it kind of works for what it is. So I actually would not want to see more of it either, but I did enjoy it a lot. And I I thought the songs I got kind of excited by the songs. I didn't think like the lyrics were like the most inspiring or that the songs were like super catchy, but the way it's I'm not gonna say filmed, but just the way it's put together, it's a pretty exciting moment when they're playing that first song, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So
And also,
yeah.
it took an interesting turn too. It's like it starts off with this like Padawan kind of like running away, and then he falls down somewhere, and then he looks up and there's a hut there, and then it's like, oh, we're gonna be friends and be in a rock band, and it's like this weird left turn. So I did appreciate that too. And
Yeah.
like I said, this was one of the more different ones out there than out of this whole season.
Yeah. This was the first one that I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like this one, then the duel, or maybe the second one was actually the twins. Do you want to jump into the twins now?
Yeah, I watched the twins third, so yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so it's interesting when you look up the description just on Wikipedia, you learn so much more about it. Apparently, this is set after the Battle of Exegol, which is at the that's Rise of the Skywalker, and they're saying it's like a First Order / Sith Eternal union, and they basically made those two Star Destroyers. I thought that was like an interesting like visual to see like two Star Destroyers combined with the thing in the middle, but it's like one of those things where I guess like just thinking about it, I'm like, why would they need two ships? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a stupid nitpick thing, but it kind of took me out of it for some reason.
Yeah, so this is one of those things. So this is one of those ones by Studio Trigger, and like I said, they're known for well, it's not directly Gurren Lagann, but and like Kill la Kill and a bunch of other things like that. So it is very over the top. I did recognize one of the voices here, and I did look these up. So the male twin, whose name was Kare, that was Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris,
And
that's
then
right.
I noticed that was Allison Brie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool here. This absolutely felt like a Studio Trigger thing. The art style is exact to what some of the other things they've done in the past, and is very over the top and like kind of completely unrealistic. Like
Right.
the one point, the guy's like standing in space on an X-wing and he slices a Star Destroyer in half. Like that's absolutely ridiculous and absolutely totally fits with something that Studio Trigger would do in one of their animes.
Yes. Yeah, I could definitely see Star Wars fans, especially the ones that don't want to deviate from any of the regular stuff, being like, how's that possible? They're in space. They're fighting in space. Like, it's like, who gives a shit? It's just like a spectacle. Just enjoy it. But, I know that you have love for this studio. Did you find this story compelling? Did you like enjoy this?
I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say this was probably maybe in the mid range for me, but it did get a few points bump for being Studio Trigger and just me recognizing that style there. And this one was much more like the Studio Trigger things that I know and like, rather than the other one that was Studio Trigger that they did later on.
Oh, I'm kind of curious about that one. Yeah, I liked it. I don't know. I like that they're two twins. They're created by the dark side of the Force. I also liked that one twin had like a C-3PO and the other twin had like a R2-D2.
Yeah.
Obviously like there's kind of mirrors there between Luke and Leia. You could, all these are super short. Like I think like the longest one is maybe like 20 something minutes.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like 13 minutes. In that small period of time, you can feel that love for the brother, the love for the sister from the brother. So I enjoyed it, but it's one that like I'm okay not seeing any more of it too.
Yeah, I could take this or leave this. Like I'm happy. Like I felt like I saw enough of it that I'm okay with not seeing more of it. But if they did, I would absolutely watch it.
Boom. Yeah, we're just knocking these out, man. Just 6 more to go. The fourth one listed on Wikipedia is The Village Bride.
Okay.
And this is kind of where we start to get into the point where like, I hate to say this because we have a YouTube channel and, we should put so much time and effort into this shit. But like sometimes when we watch things, it's like I have something else that I'm doing and I'm watching one of these shows to review. And
Yep.
like some of them I'll start to kind of like zone out and not really be into it. This was one of those for me. Is this one of the Studio Trigger ones?
No. I don't know who did this one here, but I felt that this one felt like almost exactly the same idea as the Duel, with
Okay.
a few different details. It's like, a rogue, not a rogue, like a lone Jedi fighting against like some like bandits or warlords, but in this case, it's just some slightly different flavors. We got battle droids instead.
Right.
There's a little extra added in there with the village. I did appreciate the art style, the music early on. I got vibes of the video game Nier, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but I'm sure you've seen the character of 2B somewhere, which is like an android with like white hair and there's like a black covering over her face and there's like a black dress sort of thing and a katana.
Oh, I have
You've
seen that.
definitely
Yeah.
seen it somewhere, yes. But the music really felt like that game for me, so that kind of gave it a little bump there. But
Okay.
I felt like overall this story felt like a rehash of what we've already seen, and so soon after what we've seen, I have this kind of in the mid range here.
Right. Yeah, same here. It's like one where I wouldn't necessarily want to watch any more of them. I mean, it would be cool if all the various Jedi and stuff that are in these episodes kind of could interact with each other and stuff, and there'd be like one kind of continuity. Like because I did like the Jedi Padawan. Her name was F. She was going along with that explorer guy in the beginning. Like I liked her. I liked her look. Like she had that kind of like Darth Vader mask over her mouth, like a Bane kind of thing. And I liked just her personality in general. But a couple of these, like, okay, I'm just gonna say since we're kind of in the middle, I feel like this works when there's not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of exposition, and just like action and beautiful stuff to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciated the little, like, I feel like there were almost two protagonists here. Like you had the brother and sister, not the brother, are they brother and sister? Well, no, there was two sisters.
Right, the sisters, like one of them's in the village, and it's like a sister that's getting married, right?
Yeah. Like I feel like there was like, I was confused at first of who was the main character, who was the protagonist. Was it them, or was it the Jedi and her teacher? So that was odd to me. But it seems, I think after finishing it, I would say the Jedi was probably the character, the main character of this year. So at that point, I feel like they wasted so much time with the exposition about the village and their customs. Because it seemed like she was trying, that teacher was trying to show her something about that, but I don't know what that was. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is an anthology, right? And you see all these different takes. When you look at an anthology, like whether it's a comic book or a movie, some of these they really want you to know details of the story, but ultimately the story's over so quickly, it's almost kind of like it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like the exposition doesn't matter. But I actually don't really have much more else to say about this one. I guess I would just say that it's another one where I'd like to see that Jedi character again, but I don't know if I'd want to see a continuation of this story.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with that.
Boom! Knocked down 4. So let's go to another one that I actually am not into, but apparently you loved. The 9th Jedi.
Yeah, this was actually my favorite one.
Okay. Tell me about why.
So I really like the animation of it. I like the backstory of it, and I like the twist in it. And then at the end of it, I felt like they left so many things, so many little threads there that I'm so curious about that I just wanted to see more of it. It felt like the first episode of a show. So I was very happy to hear that they're making a full show out of it, because I think there's they gave enough backstory and enough of an interesting concept that makes me think that they could really build upon it. So that's what I appreciated about it. Just and the plot twist I referred to was that you have these these Jedi meeting there. There all seem to be masterless Jedi, and you eventually find out that all of them are Sith except for one of them. And I just completely did not see that coming, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's sort of the money shot moment of this episode. It's when they ignite all their lightsabers and they're all red, and it's just like, oh shit! I was not expecting that. They do not look like Sith. Yeah. One other standout moment. Well, actually, I think there's actually three. It's kind of funny. I'm saying like I didn't really like this one, but there are like kind of three standout moments. There's this really great speeder bike chase that goes over water at one point. I just really like the way that looked. Did you like that chase?
Yes, I did. I also like how they played with but before that reveal, they played with your expectations. Like they had that benefactor, everyone was kind of questioning him. You have this kind of like sinister sounding robot that sort of looked like a K2SO sort of unit walking around. So it kind of really made you thinking that, the Jedi's assembled were the good guys, and that guy was the bad guy and was going to turn on them somehow, but it subverted my expectations and flipped the script on it.
Yeah, right, exactly. So that's that awesome moment, and then the other moment is that like inside of the droid was this other guy who was watching them this whole time.
Yes.
Margrave Juro, or he was the Margrave.
Yes. The Margrave,
yeah. So okay, can you explain the plot though to me? It's like basically they're Sith pretending to be Jedi, and they're going to this planet because the planet has kyber crystals, and there's a guy whose job is to make lightsabers.
Okay, so the Margrave wants to restart the Jedi Order. He found some planet where there's like some massive deposit of kyber crystals, and he has some blacksmith making lightsabers. He found a bunch of or heard about a bunch of Jedi, the masterless Jedi that don't have lightsabers, or maybe force sensitive people that he reached out to, and he invited them all to come there. But the Sith intercepted most of them, and they showed up there, with the exception of that one guy. They all showed up there trying to, crush this attempt at rebuilding the Jedi Order. So, and I just thought that was a cool idea, just starting over with Jedi's, getting more of them. I also there was that little thread. There's that one guy that's sort of like a Wookiee almost, but not exactly. He was like a big, tall, furry dude, and that he was the last bad guy alive there. And then wait a minute, he's got a purple saber now. And apparently he was being like controlled or influenced. And I just thought that was like an interesting plot thread that they left hanging there that I was really curious about.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he might be the one that was voiced by Simu Liu.
Oh, that's cool.
Because Simu Liu is he's the named actor in this one, And then besides that, the ship or like the station that they're on looks like a lightsaber, and I like that they invert the picture at the end, so like it looks like a lightsaber being held up. It's like this to begin with. Yeah. Okay, so this one I know that you want to keep seeing more.
100%, yeah. And I probably will be. So.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, then you know what? I'm actually excited. I'm going to say I want to see more of it too, because you kind of sold me on it. The next one, I feel like you enjoyed it probably because of the Mega Man kind of look to it. I didn't fucking write down the name of it though. What's the one with
TOB1?
That's the name of it?
TOB1, and then he eventually gets called Toby. And you're right. This was Star Wars Mega Man, 100%. This is another one where one of those studios I recognize, Science Saru. The main things I know them from are fairly recent anime based on a manga called Dandadan, which is very it's like a mixture of supernatural and extraterrestrial stuff. And then they did the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, like Scott Pilgrim sequel. But I actually didn't really like this one that much. And every point I gave it was basically because I'm like, oh, cool, Mega Man, because the Jedi inventor guy absolutely looked like Dr. Light. TOB1 absolutely looked like Mega Man without his helmet on, and there's all these other little robots and stuff. It just felt like it was Mega Man. Right. Maybe you could say Astro Boy too. I don't know. I'm not as familiar with that though.
Ditto. Did you know who the voice of the Jedi whose name was Mitaka? Do you know what Dr. Mitaka or whatever? or Professor Mitaka. Do you know what his voice actor was?
I do not.
It was Kyle Chandler.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's
good old Hal.
unexpected, I guess. Like I wouldn't expect him to play somebody so old, but okay.
Right. Good old Hal Jordan himself.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, and this has nothing to do with Star Wars at all, but I was seeing some shit last night. I was on TikTok and I saw this thing that they were saying that Warner Brothers is trying to be sold, right? And they're saying that like Skydance wants to purchase Warner Brothers, and I believe that Skydance is like a subsidiary of Paramount. I know like Skydance like owns like Star Trek.
No. Skydance owns Paramount now. That was the big merger that was that whole Colbert thing.
Okay, so I heard that like the guy that owns Skydance is like the second richest person in the world, and then I know that they had some kind of mandate where they're like, we want to focus on alpha male content. And I was like, oh my God, like if they take over, there goes the DCU. Have you heard any of this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I had heard that was part of one of the reasons why they were trying to get away from a more liberal message of various things there. And that made me very fearful for the likes of Star Trek and Transformers because, they have the movie rights for those. And I mean, the TV rights for Star Trek too. So I don't want to see that at all because I feel like that's just going to be I like what James Gunn has done so far, and I feel like they're not going to allow him to continue it. Or if they do, or I feel like they're going to try to impose something on him, and he's going to basically quit. And we're not going to get the vision that we want to see. That's what I like to see. I like to see creators with visions. They do what they want, and they're passionate about, and not have to be meddled with by like board of directors or whatever, like marketing data or anything like that. Is just make things that you're passionate about, and let people enjoy that. That's what I like to see about all these things that are just escapism for me.
Yeah, and we don't want politics like influencing it. They could like talk about politics or show politics or do metaphors with politics in the stories themselves. But when it's like politically, it's influencing the stories that are being made. Oh, that sounds fucking awful.
Yeah.
But I did see something today, though, that they were saying that Paramount wants to keep it to where the creatives are still intact. I think that was the wording they used. So, like, I think kind of like keeping the same kind of creative people if they were to purchase Warner Brothers. So that kind of made me feel hopeful. But, I mean, who knows?
People always say that, and then it never ends up working out like that.
That is true. So you're telling me that the fucking company that owns Transformers and Star Trek currently is going to potentially own the DC universe?
Only the Transformers movies. They have the rights to the movies because they license it from Hasbro, who owns the IP. But at this point, Hasbro used to co-fund with Paramount, and now they said like, no, we're not doing this anymore. So it's just really just in Paramount's hands there. And the last I heard that, there's going to be another Michael Bay Transformers movie. We've also heard about that Energon Universe cartoon, or maybe multiple cartoons. I don't know. I don't know where that falls into any of this, because Kirkman seems so involved with Amazon.
Yeah.
And I know these things that, like, just because one studio makes it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to appear on that platform. Like, sometimes people sell things to other studios or distributors to air.
Right.
So I don't know what any of that means there, but I just, like I said, I want creators to make what they want without any meddling involved.
Yeah. I mean, I think a good example of what you just said is that show, The Caped Crusader, which instead of being like on HBO or anything like that, it was on Amazon for some reason, And we really like that. So, all right, well, all this shit's kind of depressing, but luckily we still have.
So we didn't really talk about that episode at all, but it was Star Wars Mega Man. I didn't really get the concept of it. I mean, it's just he was going to revitalize the planet and then go explore, I guess. And he fought an Inquisitor that killed his professor. It just didn't feel like it had that much juice behind it.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily want to see any more of that. But like I said, if like this droid who somehow could use the Force was in some sort of like ensemble thing, and you had like the Padawan F from the Village Bride, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like to see them all like interact together. But yeah. So let's move on to the next one, which is this is the first time that I recognized a voice. Like I was like, oh, that's David Harbour. So I'm talking about the episode called The Elder, which had David Harbour as a Jedi named, I guess, Tahin or Tajin. And James Hong shows up as like a Sith, and he's got the two katana-looking lightsabers too.
Yes, yeah. So this was the other Studio Trigger. So as you can tell, the animation style was very different looking here. And although we did have those katana-style lightsabers, they did very much have the traditional Jedi robes here the entire time.
Yes. Yeah. I can't remember like when the Star Wars: The High Republic started, but I was getting High Republic vibes from a few of these things, and I kind of got it from this episode, and I also got it from the Ninth Jedi too. It definitely felt like more High Republic in look. This one, it felt more like Star Wars. Like their dialogue between Tajin, I guess that's what I'm going to call him, the David Harbour character, and his apprentice. That felt more like, oh, this is actually like a traditional Star Wars story. But then when the Sith shows up, the Elder, like that felt like that was something out of like Japanese horror or like some kind of Japanese, samurai story.
Yeah. I definitely got vibes of like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, sort of Master and Padawan sort of thing. You had that traditional Jedi Knight blue lightsaber, Jedi Master green saber thing. I liked it. I didn't feel like there was that much substance to it. I guess the message that they sort of trying to convey where, as you get older, your power starts to fade and all that, and when you're younger, you grow in power as you age, and then eventually it kind of flows away from you as you age more.
Yeah.
But I guess that was really all there was to it, and I didn't think much. Like I didn't feel like there was much to think about it on this one, other than that.
Right. This one like had the clearest moral out of all of them.
Yeah.
But like, did you think that the Padawan died at first when the Sith cut him?
I did, but the second they show him again, like there's like, wait, where's the hole in his body? So
right.
I don't know what happened to him. They made him just like slump over.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him either. It's kind of funny because anime can be very violent, but for the most part, there's nothing like super violent in any of these. There are a lot of times people get cut by lightsabers. There is, I can't remember in which one, but there's one where like a person does get cut by a lightsaber and then their body goes like that, where like one half is going one way and but it's not like it separates fully in the shot.
I believe that was the Ninth Jedi, one of those Sith. They get cut in half.
Yeah. Okay. So then, for this one, I'm okay with not seeing more of the Elder. I just it almost just felt like it was a Star Wars story, like set in Star Wars.
Yeah, I felt like that was said and done, and there's nothing else needs to be said with it.
Yeah. Well, man, this kind of sucks because the last two, I'm going to do a little spoiler and say that I actually kind of am okay not seeing more of the last two either. They were two where I kind of lost interest. One, I will say, though, which is the next one we could talk about, Lop and Ocho, I felt like visually it looked really great, especially that character of Lop. I thought that she looked really cool.
Yeah, but everything was super detailed, and I really love the art style in this one. That was the foremost point I had about this one, is that how much I loved how it looked, all the details in the background. It felt very much like almost like feature film anime, because there was so much going on there. I imagine that it must have taken a really long time to animate.
Right. And I guess like the only other kind of appealing thing for this, because obviously it's like a tale of two daughters. One's an adopted daughter, one's a biological daughter, and one is siding with the Empire, and one is siding with her people, I guess, her adopted people. Because she's adopted. Yeah, but like the other thing is the main character looks like a bunny, and I know that there's like this kind of bounty hunter or smuggler type character from Star Wars comics that is like a green rabbit. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, every time I see him, I'm like, wait a minute, is that Bucky O'Hare?
Exactly. And so that's my whole point, is I get excited about that character when I see him, because he's even in the modern Star Wars comics too. and it's like, oh, it's Bucky O'Hare, but it's like I'm assuming Bucky O'Hare is inspired by him.
I have no idea. I would love to
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
answer.
And he's got some kind of ridiculous name too. It's like Dex Star or something like that, you know. But I guess I just kind of like
Isn't that a Red Lantern?
Oh, probably. We're gonna. This is what's gonna happen: is that when we finish recording, you're gonna text me the name of the bunny, and then we're gonna both see if Bucky O'Hare is inspired by it.
Yeah, I'm 100% looking that up as soon as we're done.
Yep. But so the story didn't capture you then, or no?
I did like this one. It did feel kind of cliche, but I think the animation carried it through. I think there's more they could tell here, but I mean, maybe it could be a short animated movie. I would like to know more about, like, they didn't really show too much of the Imperial characters, like that weird Imperial officer. Like, well, that guy looks kind of interesting. Like, I want to know more about that guy and what their whole thing is. They didn't really talk about why the Empire was there, why she sided with them. It was really just felt like about setting up these adopted daughters and then setting them at odds. And I think they could potentially take it in an interesting direction. And just based on the animation alone, I would watch it more of it if there was. But I had this maybe rated as like my third or fourth favorite, I guess.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Okay. I think I would have it ranked lower if I'd actually ranked these, but yeah, it did look beautiful. I think you are more knowledgeable of samurai than I am. I remember that you had like a katana in your house, and I remember going to your house on Halloween one time, and Mike Lindbergh cut me with that katana sword as like a joke. Yes. But is there some kind of, what's that?
That was from the Highlander TV show.
Oh, okay. So then you might not be able to answer this question then, but is there some kind of significance with samurai and cutting their hair? Because there are 2 times in these episodes where characters cut their hair off.
There probably is, but I'm not. I don't have a way to articulate it well enough. Probably.
Okay, that works.
I mean, I feel like in this one, the symbolism of it was she was leaving it behind to starting new, getting rid of the past. Maybe it was something to do with the traditions around the hair and the hair length, the hairstyle, and cutting that off from her life, leaving her past behind.
Yeah,
something like that. And I think that was just really just used to show the dad that, hey, she's lost, she's gone, she's turned to the dark side.
Yeah, and so like this one, just like the twins, you have these siblings fighting each other. It's very similar to the twins, and then like it ends with one sibling being like, "I'm going to redeem this other one, or I'm going to get them." You know?
Yeah.
All right, so then that brings us last but not least to Akiri, aka what's that?
Akahiri,
yeah. And I gotta say, this is gonna be really rough, but like this is the one that I kind of tuned out the most from. So how'd you feel about this one?
Yeah, this is the other one by Science Sorrow. I was not crazy about the art style here. The animation was very fluid. I'll give them that. I was interested in the story in the beginning because you had this Jedi kind of crash land, and he seems like he's having these like painful visions, and he doesn't know what's going on. That maybe he had some kind of amnesia, but it really didn't give you that much to go on here. He's meeting up with a princess of a village of some sort, and he helped liberate this village in the past. And it turns out that the vision he had was him killing the princess accidentally, and then he turns to the villain to help them resurrect the princess, and the payment was to become her apprentice. So I don't know. It just didn't feel like there was. I didn't care for the twist. I guess the whole resurrection thing is a bit of a stretch. I guess I don't know. And that's a weird thing to say considering all the other things we've seen here and how much they can deviate from typical Star Wars lore and physics or whatever. But I just didn't care for it. I guess. I didn't find it as interesting, and I don't think I'd watch any more of this if there were to make more.
Yeah, I pretty much feel the exact same way. It's interesting because when you read the description on Wikipedia, they say that the Jedi and then the Sith that he joins, they become a dyad when they resurrect Misa, right? Who's the woman that gets killed. It's like former love. And I think it's interesting there's sort of like post Rise of Skywalker stuff in these episodes because a Force dyad is something they mentioned at the very end of Rise of Skywalker. Um, like I like that it's all different time periods in Star Wars, even though like you could say that like maybe none of these even would be in the Star Wars universe. They just kind of feel like Star Wars. But to me, it just blows my mind that Disney bought Star Wars and released a whole fucking trilogy all before COVID even happened. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been the Disney era of Star Wars is a lot longer than you think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember when the Force Awakens even came out, but I think it's probably like
2016, wasn't it?
2016?
I think
Wow.
so.
Man, so they knocked all that shit out from 2016 to COVID. They knocked out a whole fucking trilogy of Star Wars movies.
Well, yeah, they had that idea to be like a tentpole every year, which is extremely ambitious, you know.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it worked out so well because I think
2015. Sorry, 2015.
Okay, but still, they knocked out a trilogy of movies in 5 years. You know,
yeah.
The regular Star Wars, the original Star Wars trilogy, and I believe the prequels too. There's 3 years in between each, so it's like 9 years.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
But okay, my last thing, before we wrap this up is, do you feel like Star Wars has reached a point where people are not really interested in it anymore?
Yes, I think so. I think that's with a lot of IPs, really. I think that we're so used to people milking the 80s and the 90s for material to redo and re-release that it's kind of run its course with our generation.
Yeah.
As we age out of it, I suppose, and we have less time to be interested in it. And I don't think Star Wars or many of these other properties we're covering are resonating with younger generations. Right?
Yeah.
Like my son couldn't give two shits about Star Wars.
Wow.
And he's seen plenty.
Yeah.
I don't think that's to say he cares about too many things that I'm interested in, really.
Well,
I think Roblox, YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, I think with every generation, I'm sure that the generation before ours was like, what the fuck are these kids doing reading comic books and playing video games, you know?
Right.
And I'm sure that's the case. That's just really the difference here is just the generational differences, what's available, what people are interested in, and that's it. Like there was the 80s were defined by those like toy commercial cartoons, you know? And there really hasn't been things like that. Like it sort of morphed in the 90s a bit, but like there's nothing like that from the 2000s on, you know?
I 1000% agree. Yeah, I mean, like maybe you have Avatar: The Last Airbender. I mean, Harry Potter could kind of fall under that. I think. Yeah. But yeah, there was like it was so prevalent in the 80s, and then there's like maybe 1 or 2 examples like for every 10 years since then.
Yeah, and I appreciate that some of these properties have had some staying power to some degree, like Star Wars has, or like I don't know, Ninja Turtles or something like that. You always see something like that. But I mean, I don't think any of these things are that popular anymore with kids today. And I often think about like, so when does this like actually die out? Like when does everything stop being made? Because we're both big Transformers fans, and I've sat through many lulls in stuff where we thought everything was dead. The movies of the live action movies really was a huge thing for a lot of people, and it seems like it's kind of on the outs now, you know.
Yep.
And I just don't know if it can come back, or if any of these things can come back to the prominence they had in their prime.
No, I think something. What's that?
I said come back in their prime, and I said no pun intended.
Hey, no, I think something new. Basically, an Autobot has to rise from our wrecks. Like a new thing has to come out that gets a newer generation, and I don't know what form it'll be in because I don't think it'll be in figures. And I just don't think kids are into toys as much. I mean,
No,
kids are always gonna like toys, but they didn't like them like we liked toys in the
no,
'80s.
definitely not.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's certain things that just kind of keep getting recycled, like Ninja Turtles, X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, and then, but it's weird. Like you go to the comic book store, our channel's called Comic Books Transformed. Every kind of fucking licensed property you could ever imagine, they've made into comic books. There's a fucking Event Horizon comic book in the comic book stores right now.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
I mean, and I've told you about this, but just for our viewers' sake, like, they have a Biker Mice from Mars comic, and they have like Thundercats comics, like things that they're not as well known or as beloved as the other stuff that you just mentioned. They have comics for like Silverhawks and shit like that,
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm really happy that you watched all these episodes and we were able to talk about all of them. How do you feel about watching another season of this?
Yeah, I'll absolutely watch it. I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be all anime again, or we're going to get some kind of differences. And one of the things that I would have preferred maybe is if there was some story that wasn't about Jedi.
Yes.
Some other theme or setting, and because it did get a little old, but we'll see what happens in the next season. And some of those ones I like that I hope we see more of, but I don't know anything about that.
Yes. Yeah, man. Well, we got 2 more to go, so we'll cover another one next week. You guys definitely subscribe to our channel, give some likes so that Brian can feel good about continuing his Disney Plus membership. And I usually like to throw in some kind of sex-related pun at the end here, but there's literally nothing to touch here. So I guess I'll just say, may the force be with you.